Live.
Great. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to StoryForge Live. I'm Haley Boning, and here with me is Barry Chandler, and together we are the co-founders of StoryForge. We've spent the last 6 years working with ambitious business founders, visionary business founders, to help them get everyone and everything in their business on the same page, aligned with where they're going, why they're going there, and how uniquely they intend to get there. You have joined us for our live stream office hours. We do these every Wednesday and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. And we are here to tackle the kind of questions that we're wrestling with our clients every week. So we're going to tackle these challenges and take questions that are unique to business founders, to visionary leaders. We're going to share examples of businesses that have tackled these questions, those that have done it really well, and those that we think could do a better job of tackling these questions. We're going to share some examples. You can also share your questions with us. Let us know what you're struggling with. What are the questions that you're tackling right now, either in the live chat feed that you see here on the screen, or you can email us at purpose@storyforge.co. And at any time, you can join us at storyforge.co /same page. So storyforge.co/same page, where you can set up time to speak with us directly. We'd be happy to answer your questions. So this week, Barry, you and I have been talking a lot about marketing, which is at the top of everyone's minds right now, how to spend their marketing dollars in a time when things are a bit tight. And there was a wonderful example you shared of someone thinking about things differently, making decisions that might on the surface seem a little bit wacky. But once you delved into it, it really made a lot of sense for that brand.
So I think what we're really trying to talk about here is how marketing that worked 6 months ago or a year ago no longer works today. And we're facing a new opportunity, a new set of challenges, and a new marketplace. The world has certainly shifted, and what we were successful at 18 months ago, 12 months ago, 6 months ago may no longer work for us. And we may be putting dollars and resources into channels and tactics and campaigns that are no longer connecting with the audience. And why they're no longer connecting, of course, is because the needs of those very people that we're trying to meet have changed. And oftentimes we're seeing, and certainly in the past few weeks and months, we're noticing that businesses are not shifting their marketing and what they're doing to connect with their audience to meet the new needs. So what was working historically is maybe needing to be reevaluated. And one of the great examples of a brand that has pivoted their marketing in reaction to the new world that they see is a business called Girlfriend Collective. And Girlfriend Collective is a women's clothing brand. And this brand focuses on recycling plastics to create clothing. And they have built up a massive audience, a huge online support for every product that they release, to the point where people stay up late at night waiting for a new product to be released so they can be the first to buy it. And one of their insights when the world shifted was that the needs of those that they sell to may be different now. When they had relatively expensive products, but the marketing that they did historically may no longer be resonating. And certainly the people that they're selling to may have found themselves in changed circumstances. So they had a budget for marketing that historically they would have used for video campaigns, for online ad campaigns. And rather than continue with this online investment in their own channels, they took their entire marketing budget and they instead created a campaign called Girlfriend to Girlfriend, where they took all of their marketing budget and offered it up to their own audience, to their creative, independent freelancer audience who would buy their products, who were perhaps freelancers themselves, and empowered them to create advertising and marketing and content on their behalf. And they would pay them all market rates to do so. And these freelancers and independent creatives had the opportunity to take the full payment from Girlfriend Collective or to assign that payment to a charity of their choice. So in doing so, Girlfriend Collective moved their marketing budget entirely from being centrally spent on their own agencies and their own production externally to their own audience to create the content for them. what that had the benefit of doing was empowering an audience that perhaps wanted to do something for a larger brand, but also those who were out of work, who maybe had lost clients as a result of this global shift, were now able to make an income because of Girlfriend Collective shifting their dollars. And so what they've done here is they've reimagined, not based on bottom line alone, but based on what is it that the people we serve need. So one of our 5 daily drivers that we talk about for making decisions is an understanding of what our stakeholders need. Girlfriend Collective looked at their audience and they recognized that many of these independent freelance creatives were going to be out of work now or wouldn't have the work that they had before. And so they shifted their marketing to meet their needs, and in doing so have generated enormous amounts of online support. And they just recently, in the last few days, actually launched a new product line that sold out instantly online. And I think that that's a great example of thinking differently, but thinking differently because of the needs of those we serve, not just how many dollars we need to make on this particular campaign or this particular quarter.
Yeah, that's interesting. We've talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about tone deaf marketing. And I think that many larger brands and brands that I see out there, especially on social media, have gotten at least a little bit of that word. But the way that they're managing it is they are tacking on a front piece to all their marketing campaigns with the kind of language that we're now getting really used to and, quite frankly, very sick of hearing in these challenging times, in these difficult times, and then actually doing the same marketing campaigns and using the same marketing tactics that they used last year, just with this new front piece. And it's almost worse, isn't it? What I find so interesting about this Girlfriend example, this Girlfriend Collective example, is they went back 3 or 4 steps in their thinking and used one of these 5 daily decision drivers, not to think about the campaign, not to think about the messages of the campaign, not to think about the tactics, but really to think about their thinking and to use those daily decision drivers to help them completely reimagine something that may have always worked for them before. And frankly, on the surface, might have seemed to have worked for them again. So we know right now that the 2 largest categories of ads and sales on Instagram right now are cosmetics and clothing. So on the surface, if you're a cosmetics or you're a clothing company, it's a fantastic time to be out there talking to your customers. But they went far deeper than just how they talk to their customers or how they position their brand to really, who do they serve? What do those people need? And how has that potentially changed over the last couple of months? The end result is they're doing exactly what all those folks thinking about their marketing campaigns want to do, which is selling more clothing and reaching more customers. But how they got to that was in such a different way.
We think sometimes that marketing is about selling and it's about increasing our chances at selling, but really what we should be trying to do, or our belief would be that marketing is about helping more people's needs be met. In other words, it's identifying who is it that has a need or who is it that has an unmet need that we as a business can meet. And we're using marketing channels and campaigns to demonstrate our ability to meet that need. And some of those needs can be cosmetics and some of those needs can be clothing or other needs. But if we think about marketing just for selling or just for increasing sales, there's the danger that we use metrics like sales alone in the short term as being the metrics for success, rather than thinking about what it is truly that our audience needs and how we build our marketing around ensuring they know that we have what they need.
Yeah.
I think historically, well, we've seen many businesses, in our experience, we've seen many businesses who have focused their marketing or had focused their marketing on products and services, helping people understand the product, the service. We're now in a time where our filters, our BS filters, are very fine tuned, and we're looking out for businesses who we think might be either trying to take advantage of us, trying to take advantage of the current global shift, or who are just out there for their own purposes alone. When we find ourselves in this world where we're looking for meaning and looking for more connection and reassurance that there's others in this with us than ever before. And so brands that are finding ways to connect meaningfully through their marketing are the ones that are bubbling up and the ones that are getting more attention than those who are simply trying to push and push and push the products and services, aren't they?
Yeah, it is. And I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of the brands that really came out quickly over the last couple of weeks to have these insights and apply them differently were smaller businesses. Because I think smaller businesses tend to think of their customers as people. I think the larger we get as a business, sometimes we think we're so smart and we apply our MBA thinking to everything, and suddenly people become consumers. And they get reduced down to this role that they play in consuming whatever it is that you create. And that tends to have us start thinking about things in a one way. We create something and we send it to the consumers and they consume it. When we think about our stakeholders in a different way, when we think about them as people that we serve, people who have a need that we meet, people who for whom we exchange value or with whom we exchange value. So we give them our products, it serves their need, they give us their money, their loyalty. And in this particular case with Girlfriend Collective, they give us their voice. They give us their stamp of approval. They give us their engagement, not just as a customer or someone who's going to buy their clothing, but as Girlfriend Collective has proven, as someone who sees themselves as part of this Girlfriend Collective movement, as part of this organization, not just as one means to an end for that business to make a buck or make a revenue or make a profit. So it may seem like a subtle difference, this shift in thinking. But when it's embedded in the way you think about these 5 decision drivers, when these 5 decision drivers have that elevated kind of thinking, it enables you as a business to really think creatively and more innovatively, a little bit outside of the box, like a small, nimble startup.
Well, I've been part of many marketing meetings over the years that have started with the question from the marketing leader, anybody got any ideas? Anybody got any cool ideas of what we could do? And there's no shortage of ideas. There's never been a shortage of ideas. But what there has been a shortage of in our observation is evaluating or diving into what it is our people need, the people that we're serving. So rather than anybody got any ideas, those businesses, the small businesses that you mentioned that are asking, what is it that our audience needs now, are the ones that are able to come up with ideas like Girlfriend Collective with their Girlfriend to Girlfriend program. They're able to move quickly towards that because they recognize that's the thing that people need. We have the resources and the ability to be able to meet their needs. Let's go do that. Not because it's a cool thing to do, even though it is cool. It is the right thing to do. It is the thing we should do, not just the thing we could do. So in the danger, of course, in the current climate is the feeling of immediacy, the need for immediacy. We need to do something now. Everything is moving so quickly and there's a fear of waiting too long to do something. And so there's a lot of rushing to tactics to do a thing. Let's just get that thing out there, get that campaign out there, get that email out there. But a lot of these marketing messages that we're receiving, they're falling on our deaf ears because they're tone deaf and they're not fully taking advantage of or fully understanding truly what matters to people right now. Any brand that is not conscious of the current global shift and at least having a hat tip to this in their positioning seems like they're out of touch, they seem distant, they seem disconnected, they seem like they clearly don't get us. But those like Girlfriend Collective that are not just acknowledging that the world has shifted, but actually pivoting how they market and the things they do in light of that are the ones that are getting attention and are getting loyalty. Now, those people, those independent creatives and freelancers who have been lucky enough to be paid by Girlfriend Collective to create content, we know they're going to be loyal to the brand forever. They're never going to forget about Girlfriend Collective because they were part of something.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about brands, what brands can do or how they can then think about marketing differently. So if we're making the argument that what worked 6 months ago or a year ago no longer works today, then we owe it to everybody listening to give them some ideas as to what does work today or how we can move our business towards that. So we use what we would call the 5 daily drivers for decision making to inform everything we do across an organization. Marketing is one of those things that needs to be informed by these daily drivers of decision making. And one of the things that we've been focused on here, one of the daily drivers is what is it that our audience, our people truly need right now? Hayley, can you talk a little bit about how we might understand more about what it is that our audience would actually need? How would we discover that?
Sure. Well, it's interesting. I was on the call yesterday morning with a business founder who had started to launch a new business right before everything hit. So about 8 weeks ago, we had our last conversation about stakeholders and what do they need. And this particular leader has been in his industry for 20 years. He's been the customer that he is trying to reach, and he has had the problems that he wants to help his clients overcome. And the conversation that we had yesterday was dramatically different. And we are now revisiting some of those insights that he had about his industry, some of those insights that he had, those early conversations that he had with his customers. And I think one of the key things about these marketing campaigns, this shift that needs to be made, is actually the same shift that needs to be made when you think about understanding your customers and understanding your clients and your stakeholders better. And that is shifting from a mindset of a transactional or one-way relationship to a two-way dialogue. So we're not, in this particular CEO and entrepreneur's case, we're not using market data. We're not doing big research. What he is doing is he is picking up the phone and he is talking with his potential clients. And he's trying to understand, where are they? Where are their heads? Where are their businesses? What are their needs now? What has shifted? This problem that he knows that he can solve for them, talking to them about it and seeing what it would mean for them if they were able to solve that problem. So there's an intimacy that you need to develop with each of your stakeholders. Some of that can come from your experience, having been one of those people, knowing this need that they have. And some of it really has to come through this magical marketing positioning business tool that we use so often, which is listening. Really listening to what your stakeholders need, the problems that they're struggling with, and then making sure that you are creating value for them, that you understand how you're meeting those needs. And then using that as a filter for thinking, as you said, Barry, about positioning, about marketing, about where you're investing your dollars and your money, and sometimes in really creative ways. So achieving that level of intimacy can be one that you both do because of the incredible knowledge and expertise that you have in your industry, but often it really needs to regularly be informed by conversations with those stakeholders.
What's the outcome then of having that clarity? So doing that work of listening, of engaging, of truly trying to understand what it is that our audience needs so that we can align. Marketing is just one piece we can align, but we can align every part of our business to it. What's the outcome then for a business of having, especially in light of the marketing side of things, what's the outcome of having done that work, of the hard work of listening and understanding what people want?
Yeah, well, I think there are two things that come to mind, two amazing business people who were great at this kind of customer intimacy. One has not been with us in the business world for a very long time, and that is Ford. So there's the famous statement about Ford that if he'd asked his customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. So the end result of this dialogue with your customers is that you can actually anticipate their needs. Imagine that. Imagine anticipating your customers and your clients' needs and being able to deliver a product or service before they even knew that they needed it. I think of a very personal example of this that a retailer that I used to work for used to use all the time, which is this notion of your best friend. If it was your best friend's birthday and you wanted to buy them an ice cream cone, you'd probably know what flavor they wanted. You'd probably be able to buy them a book or buy them a gift that they hadn't thought about, that they didn't know about, but that once they opened it, they realized it was the perfect gift for them and they couldn't imagine a better birthday gift. That kind of customer intimacy, the impact to businesses is really putting you ahead of the curve. Rather than following trends, you're able to create those trends. You're able to be those trends and serve your customers' needs before they know that they need them. The other you mentioned earlier, Barry, is loyalty. Is your customers sticking with you when things are challenging? Your customers deciding actually to be customers of yours at a time when they may not need it. I think we have all discovered over the last 6 weeks that we need a fraction of the clothes that are in our closet. A fraction of those clothes we could live our entire lives on half of our closet. And yet, people want to buy clothes, and they are buying clothes. As I mentioned earlier, on Instagram more than almost any other category except for cosmetics. So we know that there's this need that we're filling for people, and that can come out in revenue, in margin, and in customer loyalty, and other ways.
And we know that marketing dollars are tighter, maybe tighter than ever before in terms of what we have available to us. Our resources may be stretched. We may be freaking out at the uncertainty of the world in front of us. And so we want to ensure that the money we do spend goes to the right things, is spent the right way, and gives not just us the return we need, but makes sure that it meets the needs of those that we're actually trying to serve in the first place. And it can be easy to overlook the simplicity of business in the sense of we just exist to meet people's needs. And if we don't know what those needs are, how can we possibly meet them? And how can we ever be successful as a business? So I think that the in addition to those great outcomes of loyalty and being able to anticipate the needs on a very tactical level, that understanding is going to drive down our cost of marketing. It's going to ensure that we know where to put our marketing dollars. It's going to allow us to make better decisions. It's going to reduce the time in meetings where we ask silly questions like what would be cool, and instead are very clear on what we need to do and how quickly we need to move in that direction, because we know exactly what it is that our audience needs. So there's an efficiency to it, isn't there, of knowing what our people need, and then there's almost a motivation to meet that need faster, rather than, hey, what would be a cool new channel to utilize on marketing, which is the worst question we could ever be asked.
It's true. And there's one other outcome, one other thing that results from this kind of clarity and having these 5 decision drivers. And it may not seem immediately like something within the marketing world, but in fact, it's incredibly important. And that is alignment throughout the entire organization. Because nothing can derail a marketing campaign faster than dissonance in the music. When the marketing campaign says one thing and the business is delivering an entirely different experience to the customer. So when you have these 5 decision drivers, and when everyone in the business understands why the business exists and where it's going and how is it going to get there, and all of those things that those 5 decision drivers, the clarity that they give us, when we have that kind of clarity, the marketing team can be confident in sharing the messages about the business, knowing that the customer experience team is delivering on those messages. And we can make sure that the product development team is also delivering on those same messages, delivering on that same story. And the alignment that exists at the leadership level and really at every level of the organization means that decisions are made faster. We can move quicker to actually take action. Something that I think a lot of larger businesses look longingly at smaller businesses and think, to be small and to be able to make decisions that fast. But Barry, we've seen it with a lot of larger businesses when they have the clarity that these 5 decision drivers give the team, they're able to move just as fast as a startup because everyone's really aligned on what they're trying to achieve and doing their own piece in their own function to all come together to create the same experience for the stakeholder.
That's right. And we know that we need a map, we need a plan in order to achieve the results we want. We need to know where we're going. We need our team to understand not just where we're going, but how we're going to get there. And we refer to these 5 drivers of daily decision-making as really a framework for meaningful growth, a framework that's going to allow us to make decisions. It's going to allow our team to understand how best to make decisions in our absence, how best to spend marketing dollars, or how best to assign marketing money or any resources internally. And if we don't have this map in place, if we don't have this plan, if we don't have this framework, with the best of intentions, our observation is that people with the best of intentions make decisions in the hopes of achieving some positive outcome, but often are not aligned internally. So you'll have people in different departments trying to achieve an outcome for the greater good or the good of the company, but it's not always aligned with what you as a founder or as a leader want, or with what the other departments or teams are actually pursuing and doing themselves. So we would look at this framework for meaningful growth as an essential one page, same page that you want to get everybody on. And it's something that in times where resources are finite. Time is of the essence. The needs of our audience has changed. It's never been more important for us all in our organizations to be on the same page about where we're going, why we're going there, how uniquely we're going to get there, so that all the decisions we make are moving us towards that same goal, towards that same end vision that we have, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I think this concept, this idea, these 5 decision drivers, it's actually very, very simple. And that doesn't mean it's easy, but it's a very simple way of thinking about your business. And it's not complex, but it takes time and it takes dedication. It takes effort to get that kind of clarity and to achieve that kind of alignment in your business.
That's right.
So we are hearing from our friend Rooney Young, who's saying in his career in the life sciences area, he really has grown to understand that need for mission clarity, for purpose definition, for understanding that everybody is on the same page about those 2 things. Those are just 2 of the decision drivers that I think are really important for people to get clarity about how you are going to achieve this greater purpose that you have, this higher purpose, larger than profitability, bigger than just the bottom line, but some need in the world that you and your business know you are uniquely positioned to fill. And then understanding the core strategy or strategies that have to be executed excellently and consistently over time for you to be able to fulfill that purpose.
If you would benefit from aligning your teams behind clarity of mission, of purpose, as Rooney mentioned, of getting everybody on the same page so that you can make decisions the same way, we'd be happy to chat anytime. You can schedule a call with us anytime if that's at all helpful at storyforge.co/same page. We've worked with hundreds of businesses over the past 6 years now, and what we've seen is that irrespective of the size of the business, their location, the industry that they're in, everybody at some point or another in the course of their business, as their business grows or as the market changes, starts to face the same challenges, which is alignment, which is clarity, which is getting everybody clear on the need that we fulfill and how to organize and align our entire business, our people, our products, our services with that. It's very difficult to do if everybody isn't on the same page. So getting that clarity, getting that alignment, we think has incredible outcomes, takes the stress off the shoulders of leaders who feel like they have to make all the decisions. They have to be in every meeting. They have to be in every room. And the reality is, of course, that we don't. We can empower our teams, but I think we've noticed in the past that leaders are loath to step away from a room if they don't feel like everybody's going to make the decision towards the right end. Having a framework, one framework to make decisions, framework for meaningful growth, is a way to get everybody on the same page. So if we can be helpful at all, feel free to schedule a call with us anytime at storyforge.co/same page. And so we're here every Wednesday and every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, because we know that there are challenges that businesses are facing. And we would like to share our thoughts, our insights from what has worked with clients that we have been fortunate enough to work with over the past number of years, and also from those, share the stories and examples of those businesses like Girlfriend Collective that we shared earlier, who are doing great things that are aligned with growth and aligned with meeting the needs of those that they serve, and have great stories that I think we can all learn from. Haley, do you have any final thoughts to add before we sign off this morning?
No, I think that's it. We're looking forward to talking with you. We'd be happy to hop on a call and help you diagnose where the challenges and the barriers might be for you and your business achieving that kind of meaningful growth.
And we will be back here on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Until then, stay safe and wash your hands.
Yes.